Hello, and welcome to the Birthright podcast. My name's Taylor, and if you're just joining us, we are in the middle of a 6-part mini-series on everything related to your menstrual cycle, something that I have been just geeking out and nerding out on ever since I got off of birth control 3 years ago and realized that we have a superpower literally built into our bodies as women. So far in the mini-series, we have covered what the heck the menstrual cycle actually is and really the science behind it and what's actually going on in your body hormonally. We've also covered menstrual shame and where it comes from and understanding that it really isn't ours to own. And on the last episode, we dove deep into the luteal phase, one of the most mysterious and mystifying phases of the cycle that gets a pretty bad rep. But when you know how to work with it, it can actually be a really magical and insightful time. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that really helped me to build this relationship with my cycle, which is cycle tracking. So all of my favorite ways to track the cycle, what I've tried, what worked for me, and what didn't. And then we're also going to go into some of my absolute favorite period products and what your options are when you're on your bleed. So let's jump in. Before we talk about how you track your cycle, let's talk about why you track your cycle. The first obvious answer might be so that I can get pregnant or so that I don't get pregnant, right? That's typically the number one reason that we're even considering why we should be tracking our cycle. In the earlier episodes, we talked about how women are not meant to feel the same every day when we wake up. Our cycle is really an indicator of our energy, our emotions, our creativity, our libido, even our boundaries. So knowing where you're at in your cycle, it will not only help you or prevent you from getting pregnant, but it will also give you essentially a guidebook on how to plan your life. Who doesn't want that? And over time, you'll begin to start noticing your patterns. And this becomes really where our superpower lives and how we develop a deeper relationship with our body. So let's talk about the practical ways of tracking your cycle. And the number one thing is that it does not have to be complicated. There are so many ways out there to track your cycle, and you can really keep it quite simple. You just get to find whatever works best for you. The number one tool that I have been using ever since I have been tracking my cycle, which now is about 3 years or so, are apps. I have used apps like Flow, which is an app by Alyssa Vitti, who wrote the book In the Flow, which is a really amazing tool and resource, especially if you're just starting this journey of connecting to your cycle. I've also used the app called Stardust, which is a little bit more mystical and witchy. It will talk about moon phases in that app, which was something that I loved, and it'll send cute little notes to your partner if you set it up in that way so they know exactly where you're at in your cycle. But the app that I use today, and the one that has been my personal favorite, is called Natural Cycles. The reason that Natural Cycles has been my favorite is because it syncs with my Oura ring. So Oura is spelled O-U-R-A. I don't love wearable technology. Like I don't wear an Apple Watch. And a lot of times I only wear my Oura ring to sleep because what it's doing is overnight, it's tracking your sleep, of course. And then when you wake up, it's tracking your basal body temperature. Your basal body temperature gives a ton of insight into where you are on your cycle. It gives a really precise temperature reading. So you'll always hear that our standard temperature is 98.6 degrees, I think. And what basal body temperature does is it actually takes it a decimal point further. So for example, your reading might be 98.66. So your basal body temperature is what is fluctuating throughout your cycle. When you're ovulating, your body temperature rises. And the way that we can remember this is because ovulation is our inner summer. It gets hotter in the summer, so our temperature rises. And when you're on your bleed, your temperature actually drops, which makes total sense, right? It's your inner winter. So I wear the Oura ring every night, not just to get my sleep data, but also to get my basal body temperature, which then automatically syncs to the Natural Cycles app. I use the app pretty much every day, one, to go in and see where I'm at, which right now I am on day 8. I am in my follicular. I am feeling amazing. It's such a contrast to my luteal phase of my last cycle, and it just brings me so much joy to be learning about all of this and making sense of all of it now, because damn, I feel good. I feel creative. I feel like things are manifesting. I feel like everything is happening for me. And that's a beautiful thing. I use the app every day, though, to go in and see where I'm at in my cycle and also to record my symptoms. So even if I'm having an amazing day where I feel like I'm glowing, I actually put that in the app. It gives you an option of all of these preset moods and symptoms. So like headaches or acne or breast tenderness. And you get to track those, and it'll give you really, really cool reports so you can see what your patterns are every month. It makes it so easy. So if you're a technology person, I would highly recommend an Oura Ring with the Natural Cycles app. Now, if you're not a tech person, that is totally okay, because you can order a basal body temperature thermometer on Amazon. I think this one was like $8. And I liked this one because it has a light up display. So before I was using my Oura Ring, I would literally roll over as soon as my alarm went off, grab this thermometer and put it in my mouth before I even put the lights on. It's really important that you're capturing the data first thing when you wake up, which is personally why I like the Oura Ring, because I don't have to think about it and there's not something else I have to do. But if you can remember it, then you can use one of these, have it right next to your nightstand, and you can track it also in an app if you want to manually add it into an app, or even a journal if you want to track things on the good old pen and paper way, because there is nothing wrong with that. It's really just up to you and what feels right on how you're tracking everything that's happening within your body. And just a reminder on tracking, day 1 is the first day of your bleed. So that is technically when the cycle restarts. Day 1 is the day of your bleed, and then you're going through your follicular phase, ovulation, luteal, and then back to your bleed again. And you're just looking for these patterns, right, of your temperature rising during ovulation, of your temperature decreasing when you're bleeding, and then also any other patterns like symptoms, mood, energy, even cravings. And this is such a powerful way to build a relationship with your body and with your own internal technology that our menstrual cycle is. There's also one other really important factor when it comes to cycle tracking. Your body gives you such a huge clue and hint to when you're actually fertile, and that is within your cervical mucus or your cervical fluid. So throughout your cycle, your cervical mucus actually changes. When you're in your fertile window, it becomes slippery, stretchy, clear. It's often compared to egg whites. And I like to think of it as it's rolling out the red carpet for the sperm. So inside the vagina, it's a very acidic environment, and it's somewhere that sperm actually cannot survive unless this fluid is present. The fluid creates a more alkaline environment and a slippery, slidey one for those sperm to go on their journey to find the egg. When you're noticing that slippery fluid, then that's your body actually communicating to you that you are in your fertile window now. Sperm can live in the body for up to 5 days. And once the egg has been released, it can actually survive for 12 to 24 hours. So technically, your fertile window is the days leading up to ovulation plus your ovulation day. So think of this as like a 5 to 7 day period of your actual fertile window. Knowing when this is incredibly empowering. It's crazy how in grade school, when we were taught this, they made it seem like you could get pregnant any day of the month. But outside of this window, the chances of you actually getting pregnant are significantly lower, like very minimal. Cervical mucus changes throughout your cycle, and it's something that you can really easily track because you're probably going to see it in your underwear. So the other form that cervical mucus can take outside of being slippery and slidey is sticky and creamy and maybe a little bit drier and textured. And so imagine this is not the type of fluid that would allow a sperm to swim easily to find the egg. So when you're seeing this type of mucus, then you know that you're not in your ovulation window. The time of your cycle when you typically see a more stickier, creamier cervical fluid is in your follicular phase. And lastly, you can use your cervical fluid as a health indicator as well. So if you're seeing any irregularities in your cervical fluid, like a change in color or texture, or even if it has an odor, then that might be something to check out. This is just another way where getting to know our bodies and our patterns is truly so empowering for us to be feeling really connected to our health and knowing when something might be off. And the last little piece that I want to tell you guys on cycle tracking, if you really want to take it to the next level, which I did when I was having some irregular cycles, I was having really, really long cycles after I got off of birth control, and the functional health practitioner that I was working with wanted to know if I was actually ovulating. So you might be saying, well, how would I actually know that outside of all these other ways of tracking? So there's a couple new tools out there now, but what I have used is called Inito, INITO. And this little device, it connects to your phone and an app. And what you do is you urinate in a cup first thing when you wake up in the morning. You put in one of these test strips, just like a pregnancy test, and then you insert the test strip into the device that's connected to your phone. And it will actually read it in real time. It takes about 10 minutes, and it will tell you what your hormone levels are. So it'll tell you your levels of your estrogen, your estradiol, and your progesterone, as well as luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. So you're getting in real time what your levels are at. If you have any irregularities going on in your cycle, you're having inconsistencies in your cycle length, this could be a really good option for you to see what's going on. And then you're able to export your charts and share it with either your functional medicine practitioner or whoever you see for your healthcare. Now let's switch gears and talk about period products, because there are a lot of different options out there. And again, this is something that gets to be so personal to you and whatever you want to use. I've been a huge proponent of trying all the things out and really figuring out what I like the best, because when I'm on my bleed, I really want to feel super comfortable and pampered and taken care of in my body. And what's wild is that in the industry of feminine hygiene products, there are so many products out there that have toxins, fragrances, and synthetic materials in something that we are putting into one of the most absorbent places in our entire body. It's like putting toxins directly in your mouth. No, thank you. So the most important message here is to make sure that no matter what product you're using, that you know exactly what is in it. So for example, for tampons and pads, you want to look for 100% cotton. So tampons, pads, panty liners, those are all pretty self-explanatory. Again, just make sure they're 100% cotton and organic. and you can kind of play around and see what works for you. I personally carry some tampons in my bag, but I prefer not to use them. I am experimenting with connecting to my flow and to my bleed, because you're technically not bleeding out all day long unless you have really, really heavy periods. So I have made the switch from tampons over to period panties. I love period panties. They are so good. I'm still experimenting with different brands and seeing which ones that I like best. These are from a brand called Salt. It's SAALT. So the way that the period panties work is they have an liner built directly into the panty itself. And you can find panties with different thickness of the liners, which will give you more absorbency. So this is, again, knowing your cycle and knowing which days you might be bleeding really heavy, where you might want to change the panties more often, or even have some additional padding in, or have some extra strength panties. But I am obsessed with these, you guys. They are so comfortable. I love sleeping in them overnight. I don't have to worry about anything. They allow me to more experience that free bleeding of connecting with, knowing when my body is going to be releasing more blood. And I wanted to show y'all these are reusable pads. So this is a natural cotton. I got these on Etsy. You clip it around your underwear, and then you've got a reusable pad that you wash. So with these and the period panties, what you can do is soak them in a big jug of water and wring out the blood. And then you've got this nutrient-rich water, moon water, I call it, to give to your plants or to give back to the earth, because it's a beautiful ritual to have. I have friends who have been giving their moon blood to their plants for a long time, and their plants are like exploding all over the house. So that's one thing I'm working on, building more of a ritual around. But both of these are also amazing because they don't create any waste. When you think about how much waste the feminine hygiene product industry has created, it is just phenomenal. Now, I am definitely all about everyone having access to female hygiene care, but I just want it to be non-toxic. Is that so much to ask for what we're telling women to put into their body that could be disrupting their entire endocrine system? But these options just are way better for the planet and for the environment. So if you have the means, if you have the resources, invest in a couple of pairs of period panties. They'll last you for a long time. I think I've had these for probably 2 years, to be honest. And then the reusable pads are a new thing that I've been trying out. The other option that I wanted to share with you guys is the cup, the menstrual cup. So there's also several different brands for menstrual cups. This is the Diva cup, and I personally do really like these. But again, I'm just at a point in my journey where I'm wanting to connect more with the feeling of bleeding. And these you can leave in for like 12 hours all day long and not even have to think about it. Now, they do require a little bit of finesse and technique to get them in and get them sealed so that you're not leaking. So it takes, a little bit of practice, but you fold it in half, slip it in. I like to do it in the shower, and then it's got this little tail piece so you can pull it out easily. And then what is cool about these is that you have all the blood collected, and then you can directly pour it in water and dilute and make a beautiful moon blood mixture for your plants. And again, with these, it's incredibly sustainable, very low cost. There is no waste created. So it's a good option. It just takes a little bit of practice to get used to it. And the last thing that I will say on the cup is that it actually is really cool to get to see the blood that comes out, because it's actually not just blood. The correct term would be menstrual fluid, because blood is a part of it, but the rest of it is all of this nutrient-rich fluid and cells that would have become the placenta if you were pregnant. It would have been the home for your baby. So when you think about it in that way and think about the sacredness of this fluid, and you actually get to see it, and if you want to touch it and look at the colors of it. I have friends that paint with theirs. They make moon blood paintings, which I've personally done before as well. So it offers a really unique way to connect more deeply with that fluid and get to know your own, to see the amount that's coming out and the different textures and colors and consistencies. And I want to acknowledge that maybe this seems a little bit out there for some people to be painting with your blood and putting it in your plants, but I at least want to open the door to the idea of this. In our modern world, we've been taught to hide our menstrual blood, dispose of it very quickly, to get rid of it, to just toss it in the trash. But many cultures actually view menstrual fluid and menstrual blood as really sacred. It's totally a personal choice of if you want to observe your blood or paint with your blood or give it to the earth or give it to your plants. I am a proponent of women doing whatever feels right for them. I just want to expose you to the idea of maybe doing something different that could help you to connect to this really beautiful process that's happening within your body every single month in a deeper way. Honestly, if you're here and you're looking at your bleed as something other than just an inconvenience, you are already there, sister. So thank you. Thank you, because again, it is my mission to help as many women as possible to fall in love with their bleed. So just to bring this all together, when you start tracking your cycle, when you're paying attention to your body's signals, your symptoms, your moods, your cravings, what you're desiring at different points throughout the month, when you become more intentional with how you care for yourself during your bleed, and you choose products intentionally that you really love, then this is where everything changes. You can really shift from confusion into clarity, from disconnection into sacred relationship with your own body, and from a level of like wanting to control and holding on and gripping to control into sweet, sweet trust, and trusting this process and trusting the beauty and the magic that comes from it. Your body is not random. Your body is intelligent. It is cyclical, and it is always communicating with you. It is so important that we learn to listen, and tracking your cycle is one of the greatest things you can do in order to improve your ability to understand your body's messages. Thank you so much for being here with me. If this episode stirred something in you, I would love to hear about it, and I would love if you could share with another woman in your life. I want to spread the message of the beauty of our periods as far and wide as we can, and the power of connecting to ourselves. So next week, we will be diving even deeper into the menstrual cycle and continuing in our mini-series with an episode all about ideas on creating rituals for your bleed. I hope you join us. I will see you there, sister.